Hi friends, Mickey Mankus here and welcome to Out the Back Door. Today I am going to start making shredded venison for sandwiches. And my first step that I'm going to do is I need to put it into the slow cooker and cook it up nice. I am going to can this afterwards, but this is my first process. I have taken venison from the hind quarter. I've already got this all cleaned up and everything. We're not really roast eaters in our household, so what I could be using for roasts, I am going to cut up into, medium-sized pieces, about this big, and I'm just throwing it in. You can also use beef or any other type of wild game, elk, moose, anything like that. Makes an awesome shredded sandwich. You know, like pulled pork, this is pulled venison. So I'm going to keep cutting all this up, and then when I get my first layer down here, then I'm going to be sprinkling some seasoning on. I'm doing really easy. I'm just going to use garlic salt today and sprinkle that on. Once I get it going and all filled up and everything, I'm going to set my slow cooker on low and I'm going to set it for 10 hours. I know it sounds like a long time, but I'll check on it about 8 hours or so. I want it to slowly cook so that all the muscle tenderizes and just falls apart when I go to start shredding it with a fork. So I'll be right back. Okay, you can use any type of a seasoning that you would like in this. And it's ready to set into the slow cooker right now. And like I said, I'm going to set this on low and I'm going to set it for 10 hours. I will check it around 8 hours to see how it's doing. And then I'll show you the next step as far as canning it. I ended up letting this go overnight. It cooked for probably about 12 hours. And I am going to put it into a large bowl right now to be able to shred it up. It looks a little bit darker and dried up on the top, and that's okay. You don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to get the pieces into the bowl, and then I'm going to dump the juice in there that the venison has created. I've also put some broth, bouillon broth. Actually, I use Better Than Bouillon. And I've got 2 quarts of that heating up on my stove right now in case I don't have enough liquid in here from the venison to pour in. You know, you could actually do shredded chicken, shredded pork, besides beef or wild game. And one of the reasons I don't put any extra seasoning in except, you know, the little bit of garlic salt that I put on here, is because when I go to open it up, I may not want to just put barbecue sauce on it for sandwiches. Sometimes I like to put like a vinaigrette type dressing and say a slab of onion and provolone cheese and canned green pepper. That really makes a good sandwich. I'll dump this in. The meat is so tender in here that I can just, it falls apart in shreds with my tongs. I did grab forks out in order to shred it up this way, but it doesn't look like I need them. That's why I cook this at a low heat for a long period of time, because the meat gets so tender. I do have my jars in the oven right now warming up. I've got my Tattler lid scalding. My broth is heating up. I'm going to be putting these in pint jars because that's the size that I like to use, open up for my husband and myself. I'm just going to finish shredding this up and then I'll go get the jars out. We're going to pack the meat in fairly tight, but not to the point where we can't get any extra juice in there. We're leaving a 1-inch head space. All right, I'm gonna keep filling these up, and then when I'm ready to add the broth, I'll be right back. I'm mixing a little bit of the Better Than Bouillon in with the actual broth that the venison had made to make sure that I have the same consistency broth throughout the whole thing. Now I'm going to top off my jars with the broth. Like I said, 1-inch head space. Okay, you got to make sure to be debubbling. And if you need to add more broth to bring your level to 1 inch, go ahead. All right, make sure that you wipe down your rims real well. I've got a wet cloth here. I'll get the lids on. And it's nice that I was able to get a full dozen jars out of this. I had the crock pot full to the top with meat. So it'll kind of give you an idea, if you do this, of how many jars you may get. Remember, fingertip tight. Okay, I'm going to get these into the canner, and for our elevation, I am going to process at 10 pounds. And being that these are pints, I'm going to process for 75 minutes after we've vented for 10 minutes. If you're doing quarts, you would process for 90 minutes instead. Okay, I got all the jars of the shredded meat out of the canner last night. I went and I washed them all up and everything. I did notice when I had pulled them out of the canner, I had siphoning, and it made me a little bit concerned. But when I did take all the bands off and everything and washed them up, they all completely sealed. So there you go. That is so easy to make, a shredded meat to have canned up and in the pantry ready to pull off and use for any type of thing that you want. Like I said, I was mentioning barbecue sandwiches and whatnot, but I think I may be using one of these tonight, and I'm gonna make myself some shredded meat tacos with it. So if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, hit the notification bell, and give me a thumbs up. And if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. So until next time, God bless.